It's Lindsay. I am currently sitting in my living room and I thought that I would go live today and have a little chat. I don't really have a whole lot on my mind. I was going to sit out on my front porch where it's still shaded with the positioning of the sun, but it is extremely bright out there, as you can see back here in my sunroom. So it was a little impossible for me to see my screen here. So anyway, if you are here, welcome. Let me introduce myself. I am Lindsay. I like to share a whole variety of things to support my health. This is a channel dedicated to my specific experience. I'm willing to share the things that work well for me along the way. And everything I share is going to always be descriptive of what I do. It's never going to be prescriptive of what you should do. I am not a healthcare professional. I'm not anybody. So I just like to share what I do. And the fact that there are those of you who are interested in watching, that's exciting to me. So I share what I eat in a day videos. Sometimes I do recipe videos. I like to occasionally add in a grocery haul or two. And often I like to go live and just chat. So that is me on this channel. If you're interested in that and you're not yet subscribed, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel so you can see the content I put out on a more regular basis. And if you've been here for a hot minute, I appreciate you so very much. Okay, I am feeling a little bit ill prepared and run down here lately. We had some sickness befall us, those summertime head colds. They kind of hit our household, and trying to find and muster the energy to do much of anything it's been a little bit it's been a little bit of a process for me. Also, I don't know about my lighting here. It's quite difficult with that backlighting, so it is what it is. Yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit run down, a little bit tired, and whenever my children are ill, that usually means that my husband and I are getting up in the middle of the night to assist them or soothe them, as it were. So I'm just not 100% there. Right now, I am currently having my afternoon cup of coffee. I have heavy cream in there, and this was actually a bit of the remnant coffee from earlier today. So there is also some perfect keto salted caramel. That's what I have in here, salted caramel, and it's very minimal. I tend to not use a whole scoop of those products because I find them to be extremely flavorful and sweet. So the hint of it that is still left in here is extremely faint. But I felt like I needed some extra calories right now for some reason, so I went with it. So I poorly planned out the rest of this month as far as me trying to put out a video every single day in July, with the exception of Sundays. And I did not have a video available for today. So I decided, you know what? The house is quiet. I won't disturb any of the girls' husbands away at work. So I think I'll just go ahead and pop on the live stream and just sort of tell you how it's been going. As of right now, I am definitely feeling very snacky and a little bit extra hungry, even though in the monthly cycle of hormones, I shouldn't be. And I think that is largely in part due to, well, not in part, it's in part largely due to the fact that my husband and we got to get away for a few days, and we got to eat a lot of really exciting food that I normally would not have eaten. I ate a lot of things that were very far out of my comfort zone. I tried to keep everything as low carb as possible, but when you are not the one preparing your food, you definitely subject yourself to the exposure that you would probably not have if you were the one creating all the food that you consume. So I got to eat some weird stuff. I had the opportunity to eat some fried grasshoppers. I declined. I had the opportunity to eat oysters on the half shell, which is something that I have only been exposed to marginally at best, and usually decline when I have them presented to me, but I did participate and I did not die. So that was huge. I had some sashimi. I had some grilled octopus. That was very far out of my comfort zone. um, that was that was an experience, not one I intend on repeating, but I did it once, so there's that. I ate some other good food like pork shank. I had some really good roast chicken. I had some good beef. We had some amazing brisket tacos, but I did it without the actual tortilla. So I made a lot of food choices where I could control sort of like which components I would eat. I couldn't control what oils or what fats were used in them. I couldn't control whether or not there was any kind of specific sauce that had a cornstarch or had flour in it, but I was able to control what I could control and let the rest of it just be part of the immersive experience that we had. And one of the coolest things that we had were jicama tortilla tacos. And I thought that when I read the words jicama tortilla, I thought it was going to be jicama dried out, ground into powder, and then combined with like water and salt and possibly masa to turn it into like a tortilla. I was way off and I was way pleasantly surprised. They took a jicama and peeled it and then sent it through a mandolin slicer until it was just barely thicker than cardstock and used the sliced jicama as a taco shell. Oh, it was so fantastic. So fantastic. I already really like jicama and I've used it numerous times in my low carb cooking and things like that. But I had never considered mandolin slicing it so thinly. I've done it for chips, but I've never been able to get it this thin. And I desperately want to find the tool to be able to do that in the future. It made like the perfect street taco size. It was crunchy, it was refreshing. It juxtaposed the spicy warmth of the shrimp that was in the tacos. It was delightful. It was delightful. And I definitely want to figure out how to make that a part of my my monthly food. So I got to have some cool stuff. I got to have some weird stuff, and trying to get back into a rhythm, and then the kids falling sick just after that, and just kind of like there's just been a little bit less planning happening here in my life. I do have a Sam's Club haul that I'm going to post for tomorrow's video. Tomorrow will be the final day of me posting every day in July with the exception of Sundays. And if I could be so bold, I'm really proud of me for showing up for me in this whole process of trying to put out a video 6 days a week. At the beginning of the whole challenge, I thought, oh, if I can get like 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 videos put out per week, at the end of the month, I will feel like I succeeded in being consistent here on my channel. So I feel like I've done pretty okay. All my videos have not been very great quality. I have just kind of tossed up whatever I could some days just because, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3 children and my husband is a pilot for work. So things are constantly being fluctuated and changed, and the number one quality I portray is flexibility when it comes to my family. So having to take care of a lot of things and manage it has been a lot of fun. But I've been really proud of the fact that I've been able to show up for me. And it kind of begs the question, like, what next? Because I know whenever I start watching somebody post videos regularly, I kind of feel like something is a little bit off in my day when I don't have those videos on the daily basis. So, you know, Janet Greta, she puts out a lot of content, but there are seasons when she does an everyday kind of a thing and seasons when she's like 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week. And on those days she doesn't post, as ridiculous as it sounds, I'm like, aw, I didn't get my daily dose of Janet. Or with Neely doing her month of of posting, I'm like, oh man, it's gonna go back to the same way that I am, where it's just whenever I have the opportunity to post. And if I get it done, great. And if I don't, family always comes first and real life always comes first. And I mean like physical, real world situations always come first. So I know that that's reality, but it kind of has me wondering, like, what do I do next? Because showing up for me in this little hobby of sharing what I do has been, it's been, I don't know, I don't want to say it's been life-giving, but it has definitely given me something to sort of hone my time, I guess. So I don't know what's going to come up next. I would love to do Vlogust, which is a vlog every day in August. But the reality is we are going to be doing another stint of homeschool lessons for several weeks. We do have travel coming up. We do have a whole host of things that are going on in our real world that require my attention and my focus, and I need to be very intentional with those things. So I don't want to set myself up for I don't want to set myself up for the failure, but I also don't want to set myself up to do something and then just like bail on me and be like, meh, it's okay. It is what it is. It's a busy season. I don't want to, I want to take into consideration the season, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Also, with getting up in the middle of the night, my brain is a little bit tired, so forgive me. Or don't. I like to say things like that regularly because I don't really want to control anybody and their thoughts and their feelings or whatever they choose to do. Okay. Elle Sayback, hello. Hi, Judy. Judy says, I bet you're glad July is almost over. I don't know that I'm glad that it's almost over. I am glad swim lessons are done. We don't need to continue on with those until the fall sessions begin. I could have gone on for another session or two with swim lessons for my youngest, but with homeschooling plus the big girls activities plus like traveling and visiting people and all kinds of things happening, it was one of those deals where it was like, it's probably prudent to not do the swimming during the month of August. So I'm glad swim is over more so than the videos. And I'll say back, you have enjoyed my videos. I appreciate that so very much. And I know I don't get a whole ton of views, and that's not really why I share videos. I really do it so that I have a sounding board sometimes. Oh, the daily, yeah. It hasn't been so bad, Judy. For the replay people, she asked, or she says she meant the being glad that July is over because of the daily vlogs. Like, haha, I bet you're glad. And I think that the pace is unattainable for me for putting out a video 6 days a week, but the desire to put more content out or share more things is definitely high. Robin, you just made egg yolk waffle, eating now. Well, I'm glad I can keep you company while you have food. True story. I just had egg yolk waffles today for breakfast. Actually, it was more of a brunch. So my girls, they've been dealing with the head cold mess, and my youngest, she's been dealing with some tummy troubles. And so I was feeling a little off in the digestive system, not like to the point where anything was coming about from it, but when you just feel a little bit just off. And I'm thinking, ooh, I hope I don't fall victim to any kind of illness right now. But yeah, so I waited until brunch. It was about 11 when I had my egg yolk waffles, and they hit the spot, but I've been feeling munchy after that. And it kind of makes me wish maybe I should not have, or it makes me wish that I hadn't started eating for the day yet, but here we are. It's gonna be great. Judy, you love my recipes. The non-dairy Alfredo later today is a cream sauce for pork chops. That is a fantastic idea. I think you can also make that in a creamier, like not a creamy, refocus your brain. The way I make it, it's very savory and it's delightful, and using it as a sauce over anything savory is fantastic. It would also work out well, I think, in my mind, it works out well to shift the palate from savory over to sweet, to put over top of berries. I know I used some of that crema that was like unflavored cream on my berries, and I think that Alfredo sauce converted into a sweet, sort of a neutral sweet kind of a flavor. Could be really good on, like drizzled over top of a piece of low carb cake or a handful of berries or something like that. I think that could be really cool. It would not whip up though into a whipped cream. Me and the dairy-free whipped cream saga, I know I've mentioned that like ages ago, 9 months ago or more. That has definitely not worked out for me. So I've not yet mastered that, especially since I'm trying to do it without coconut or like coconut cream. I was trying really hard to do it not with coconut cream. And main reason being like coconut's not my favorite. The cold cartons of coconut milk, I can tolerate those really, really well. They don't have a flavor to them in my palate, so that's really great. Unrefined coconut oil is extremely, extremely coconutty to me. So having that added, like when I did the creamy recipe trial thing with that, it was over the top coconut from my palate. But I'm trying to figure out the dairy-free thing, but it's just, it's not successful at this point in the game. Judy, you agree with me on the sweet. That is, yeah, I think it would be a really great, just like drizzle. I think that would be very interesting. And Robin, are you being intentional in eating less protein and more fat? You're struggling to get your glucose down. Absolutely, I am. While we were traveling, I did not, just because where we were, everything had a very, very high carb, heavy focus on all of the eating. Although for breakfast, I would eat top sirloin steaks and smoked salmon, and then like eggs. They had a jalapeno bacon. That was pretty rockin'. So I did a much more Ketovore way of eating when we traveled, because I was able to at least not feel hungry while doing that. And now that we're trying to be just like back home again, it's difficult to sort of pull back on my protein. And using things like Amy's egg yolk waffles is extremely helpful. And using the cream in my coffee, which is what we got there, if you were popping in after I started, that has been helpful. I have not made any fat bombs, but I do intend on doing that at some point. Yeah, so I'm definitely working very diligently to bring back my protein and stay more focused on fat. But also, whenever you feel like your world is just kind of a little bit off kilter, it doesn't go as well as intended. All right, Carissa's Corner. Hi from Ohio. Well, hello. Carissa asks, do you do any form of intermittent fasting? I don't. Other than just like your standard, I stop eating in the evenings and then I don't start eating again until the next day. So your baseline type of thing. Carissa says you switched to black coffee. Yeah, you get very accustomed to it as soon as you start to doing words coming out hard, difficult. Once you get accustomed to it, it's kind of like second nature. And then you go back to something different, like putting cream in my coffee. I'm kind of like, like that's a treat for sure. I don't want this all the time. I love my black coffee. Coming back here. Robin asked about non-dairy. Robin, are you saying non-daily cream or non-dairy cream? A while back, I did a dairy-free Alfredo sauce. And before that, I had been working on a dairy-free whipped cream, so to speak, without coconut milk or coconut cream. And I have been trying to pick that recipe up every once in a while and try to fuss with it. and it just never really works out for me. So that was more or less what I was talking about. And then taking my Alfredo sauce and converting it from a savory dish over to a sweet dish, or a sweet topper, if you will. I think that would be really tasty. Ooh, make some crepes, the egg white crepes, convert my Alfredo sauce from savory to sweet, put some berries inside of the egg white crepes, and then drizzle some of the sweet version of the cream sauce. That sounds like a delightful thing that I may have to try. It might have to happen today. Okay, I missed something. Elsayback, you mainly watch me every night on the TV. Wow, you're brave, because I don't know that I want to see my face on a big TV. And as for views, I have no idea. I'm sure it counts it as views, but I don't know. And if you do like my videos, thank you. I appreciate you hitting that thumbs up, but also don't feel obligated in any way, shape, or form. Robin did clarify it is dairy, not daily. Yes. So I did really want to hone in on that. And my actual state of mind was more that I wanted it to be dairy free, but I wanted it to also have an element of PSMF, where it was very low fat, which obviously with cream, that's a little bit silly. But kind of that was where my brain was going, was if I can put this in my whipped cream dispenser with, like those NO2 little canisters, or little, charged canister deals, and it out. If I could do that, that would be rad, because there are some people in my actual daily life that do prefer to go dairy free. They find that they feel better without the dairy. And I've made cobblers in the past that are, keto friendly, in moderation. But it would have been great to have had a dairy free option for the whipped cream to add to the top, that kind of thing. Carissa, you refuse to do the dairy free thing. And why do I say crepes so fancy? I took French in high school. I'm not that great at it, but that's one of those things that just kind of in my brain. So Judy is not dairy-free either, but she does like to have a few of the dairy-free recipes to help keep the dairy at a reasonable, that is it. Keeping dairy in its place is a tricky feat, and I do like dairy-free recipes for that particular, purpose. Let's be mindful that just because some is good doesn't mean that all is good. Well, thank you for the compliments on my skin, Carissa. It is not doing too hot. It's starting to finally peel after getting a little bit of excessive sun. And also I chose to put on some sunscreen while we were out in the sun, and it did not react well to my skin. So the lack of lighting hitting my face is probably helping me in that respect. Judy, yes, my crepes are not fancy. Egg whites, gelatin. I do use a little bit of my baking blend just for a little bit of stability, and that works out really nicely. And then you can also use psyllium husks if you would rather do psyllium husk versus gelatin. There's just a whole host of things you can do with the egg whites. And reverse even further, I also use whole eggs now instead of separating out my yolks. I tend to do whole eggs just to sort of keep that nutrition just kind of all right there. But yeah, wow, it's been 24 minutes I've been talking. That's incredible. I didn't think I was gonna make it past 7. I mean, to be honest, I can yammer on about just about anything for ages, ask my kids, but I didn't think that my brain would keep functioning like this. So Judy said, good ideas again on the crepes. Yeah, I like the whole egg. It gives it a nice yellow color, and it's, I don't know, it kind of makes it just seem a little bit, I don't know, more substantial almost. I can't quite put my finger on it. And Carissa asks, do I use electrolytes? Aha, yes. Yes, I do. I really like the Perfect Keto Black Cherry. Hands down, one of my favorites. My second favorite, that's actually like, you know, if they were, I gotta set this coffee down. Hopefully you don't spill. Actually, let's set that on that book. That might be more advantageous. So if I have like perfect keto, black cherry flavor, I've got Redmond Relight, like neck and neck. Those two are my absolute favorites. I don't mix them in my taste buds. That doesn't work out well. But those are my two favorites. And then I like the mango from Relight, and that one's good. But oh man, not the hiccups. I also have watermelon and pink lemonade from Perfect Keto. Oh, I hope this doesn't turn into a whole episode. How often do y'all get hiccups? My husband tells me all the time, like it's ridiculous for an adult to get hiccups the way that I get hiccups. But anyway, so those are the current electrolyte buckets that I have hanging out, or jars hanging out in my cabinet right now. I would argue my least favorite of all of those is probably the pink lemonade, just because that flavor profile is not my favorite. But my husband really likes that with fresh squeezed lime juice. He thinks that's pretty tasty. So he's really the number one person who uses that particular flavor. I have to battle my middle child on the black cherry electrolytes. She loves those. And the mango flavor ones, if they were less salty, my oldest would probably love that one the most. However, the saltiness factor is just a little bit aggressive for her palate. My littlest one, she'll drink anything, anytime. So there's that. Jennifer suggests mixing pina colada Relight with a coconut bai drink. So good. Okay, I'm gonna let you enjoy all of that coconutty goodness. I am not a coconut fan, and I try so hard. I do. Carissa, you like the unflavored electrolytes, but you also like the element ones. So I do have some electrolytes that are not flavored as well, but I try to keep those more for travel, because I have like the little small travel squeezy tube that I refill. Yeah, I really like the Perfect Keto Black Cherry. It's just my current favorite. And it used to be the mixed berry was my absolute favorite. And Carissa, you are gonna sit right there in that no coconut camp with me. It goes back decades for me. My mom would always make a German chocolate pie for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. I loved the chocolate layer. I loved the pie crust layer. Phenomenal, amazing, definitely good stuff. But the recipe calls to put flaked coconut on top. And the problem with that was not only the texture, but the flavor was overpowering to me. I could not stand it. So she got to the point where she would actually take a little bit of the chocolate batter and bake it in a ramekin alongside the other pie. And I mean, it has been going on since I was a wee tiny human. So that's how long my coconut aversion has gone. And what's funny about that is that I always thought, okay, pregnancy will shift how you taste things. It'll make things taste better or worse or whatever. I still couldn't do coconut when I was pregnant. I've never been a fan of actual fresh watermelon. Never liked melon at all. Watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, any of the melons. I always tried. Because everybody around me when I was growing up loved to eat all of the melon stuff. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna try it. It's gonna be great. No, every time. Nope, would not work for me. I thought when I was pregnant that would happen. No, it didn't. So I have just resigned myself to just knowing that the fresh melon family of fruits are just not for me, and I will gladly save all of that for others who love it. Like I have a cantaloupe in my refrigerator in the basement right now that needs to get cut up this week, and I will happily cut it up. I will happily store it. I will happily pull it out for my children as they request, but they're gonna enjoy it all. And so there's that, which is surprising also that I like the Perfect Keto watermelon. That one it's more of like it's not like a super fake watermelon flavor, um, but it's like different than a real watermelon. You know what I mean? Like it's just a little bit different, and I actually really like that. And maybe it's the salt. Um, so there's that. Carissa says, listen to your body, absolutely, and you eat intuitively. That is a feat that many people cannot manage. Judy says that it works out well on keto to not like the what Ellen. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. It works out well for me. My children do like it, and I'm willing to get that for them because it does have high water content, and it's one of those little snacky things that I can give to them where I don't feel quite so bad about it because it takes them longer to eat. I'm sorry, I've got like this bug bite on my on my shin here that is bothering me. But it's also not just like empty carbs. So there's that. Oh, and that's kind of a different thing that's happening slowly. And when I say slowly, I mean glacier slow. The for the past however many years, 6.5+ years, my husband and I have been doing this sort of sugar-free, low-carb way of life. Oh no, not a hiccup. We have not really pushed our girls into this way of life, and slowly we are making, oh, we are making very, very, very minute steps toward getting them away from anything that's processed. And it's going to take a couple of years, in my opinion, to get them on board with what we're doing fully. But I also don't want to, sort of like be a pusher. So we are slowly just like not buying certain things anymore. I used to be really big into making 100% of everything myself, and that was a slower season of life. Bye, Judy. Thanks for being here today. It was a slower season of life when I only had the 2 girls and we didn't have all the activities. We didn't have, as my throat catches, as much going on, and I was able to make everything from scratch, able to make everything from really clean ingredients. And you know, like every season of life, it kind of comes in waves, and I'm in that season of life where there's a lot happening, and convenience has sort of been king as far as that's concerned, with the snacks and being on the go. And we are starting to just like turn the tides a little bit. And like I said, it's glacially like slow, the way we're doing this. And I'm never gonna cut out any of the fresh produce that's higher in carbs for my girls. Like my girls, they like potatoes. They don't eat a boatload of potatoes, but they really like potatoes. And I've started to notice they really like potatoes over rice. So I'm happy to sort of readjust what I choose to give them as a side dish when those things come up. And yeah, we're just gonna start slowly just making the trek over to where they're eating. I would argue it's more gonna be, I don't wanna say it's not gonna be Whole30 because they'll still get to have sweet treats and things like that. But more of a Trim Healthy Mama-ish kind of a way where they can have all the crossovers that they want. We just need to sort of hone in and tidy up the ingredients that we've been using in order to give them less metabolic stress, I guess, as they hit the puberty season and beyond. You know, all of those habits are learned extremely young. And while I would love to perfect human diet the 3 of them instantly, I don't have the bandwidth to do that and stay on top of everything and actually sleep at night. So it'll be incremental, it'll be slow, and it's not gonna be perfect. And I'm one of those people who's perfectly happy to live in the imperfection, even though I am an extremist, which is interesting. I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna have to go ahead and go because my throat's getting tired. Oh, my example is powerful. Thank you, Robin. I do agree. Like them seeing what me and my husband do is a very valuable thing for them. My middle child, she asks me all the time, okay, what is in this? what does this do for my body? How does this manage, like what is happening here? Like she's definitely a sensing personality. She wants to know what it is, concrete. And being able to give her that example and that knowledge is extremely powerful. I just hope that I don't create some kind of, weird feels about food and diet culture as they age up. So it's a balancing act. It's delicate. ST Wong, hello. I'm getting ready to like depart off of my live stream here, but I appreciate you showing up here. I actually were you on Too Crazy Keto's live stream recently? I want to say, or on a premiere, because I want to say I saw your name in the live stream comments. Robin, having choices is so powerful. Yeah, having the choices, having the ability to say, okay, if I know what it is, I can make an informed choice. That is something I really, really want to drive home in my girls' minds. Like, applied knowledge is power, but you actually have to acquire that knowledge first. And that's something that we homeschool, and a lot of the reason is because I want my children to be critical thinkers. I don't want to just regurgitate information to them and then have them say it back to me or to someone else. I want them to go dig for information and be able to vet a source, be able to just learn how to learn. That's my ultimate goal with my kids, and I'm just doing what I can to facilitate that. Oh man, this hair, I tell you what. ST Wong, you were there. Aha, I knew your screen name sounded familiar. Okay, it's been 36-ish, almost 37 minutes here, and I have a bit of a tired right in here, and I'm gonna go finish. Actually, I need to rewarm the coffee. The coffee has gone a little chilly, so I'm gonna go do that. Thank you so much for all of y'all being here and just kind of letting me pontificate. That has been a big word for me lately. And just sort of share what was on my mind, even though I didn't have a video ready to go live today. Tomorrow is the last video for the month of July for me, since I'm not posting videos on Sundays. And I'm excited about the fact that I did it. So anyway, I appreciate y'all so much. Goodbye, ST Wong and Robin and everyone else who was here. I hope to see you in my next video or live stream.